Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Leslie and today I am making sketches 1 through 5 of Kendra's card challenge number 22. So let's get into it. Sketch 1, I am pulling out from my Ziploc bags. This is how I keep all of my sketches together. Each Ziploc bag has a number on it. I do all my cutting according to the guides and then I go ahead and put them into their individual Ziploc bags. These bags have lasted me through Kendra's Card Challenge 9 is when I believe I started this one. So they've definitely put in their work, and so they're still lasting really, really well. I think I've only had to replace one of them, and that's because it got lost more than it got destroyed at one point. So that's okay. So I am using some paper from Not Too Shabby Shop. Sunflower beads, and if you want to see which papers I'm using and all that kind of information, I will actually link to my first video, which was on the lunch for Kendra's Card Challenge. I did sketch, I believe, 9 and 10 with that one, and I showcased the paper that I'm using and everything like that to begin with. So just continuing on with sketch number 1 here. Now, I always suggest using double-sided paper when you're doing your cards, just because it gives you more variety. I was double-checking what I wanted mid-card here, deciding, do I want the bee honeycomb or do I want those beautiful blue and the sunflowers there with all the stripy things going on the other side, but I am going to go with my original idea. Now, the fun thing that is new to this quarter is that Kendra has the cardstock cutting guides in her Patreon shop. So if you're interested in that, you can go to her Patreon shop and purchase that, and then you have all the cardstock cutting guides, which made this a little bit faster. It did have me, I only used a couple different colors instead of multiple colors, because you try to cut the entire 8 by 11 cardstock paper, and so it made it so that your cards are very more streamlined. So if you're interested in all that, I will link that information down below. I'm just using my scissors to cut those diagonal edges that are supposed to be on the card. You will see there's a lot of circles with these sketches, but because I am using my sunflowers as my focal points, a lot of times I do take away those white circles, so I just use the backing colored circles behind my sunflowers. I love how these cards came out. They're probably one of my favorite sets of Kendra's Card Challenge cards, just because sunflowers are near and dear to my heart, and blue is my favorite color. So between this paper and the sunflower dies that I used, these cards are completely up my alley. So I am putting a little bit of cardstock, just some scrap ones behind that. I'm letting you know I do have a bunch of scrap cardstock that I used kind of as the foam tape instead of using my foam tape this time around, just because I was putting a couple different layers in between each of the sunflower layer petals. I tried to use about 3 layers of petals per flower, and then of course then there's the middle, and then the very back. So I just used a lot of my scraps because the die cuts out the petals the way it does. There's a lot of the yellow scraps. So this is me trying to figure out what I wanted for my sentiments. I also just ended up stamping a bunch of sentiments and then using the dies to cut them out, or fussy cutting them out. And so I have a whole little case here next to me from scrapbook.com, one of their little trays, and it's just full of sentiments and my sunflowers just ready for me to grab. So you'll see this is how I add the extra cardstock behind any layers that I need. I just cut it down just like I would with foam tape, and it just kind of helps me to use up my smaller scraps instead of just throwing them away or putting them to the side to store forever because I'm a bit of a paper hoarder. This is just a great way for me to continue to use up my scraps. So we're going to put a few layers behind the right hand side of this sentiment, just because the brown part of the flower does pop up quite a bit, and I want to make sure there's no noticeable bend in the sentiment. This sentiment says, "You got this." A lot of my cards that I make, I try to make like hello cards or encouragement cards or birthday cards, just because of how I donate my cards and who I send them to. So a lot of my cards either go to Cards for Cubs in March, which that's a lot of the birthday cards, and some encouragement cards and hello cards. But then a majority of the cards that I make in line for kids that go to Royal Family Kids Camp. It's a week-long Bible camp where kids in the foster system get to have a great week of fishing and swimming and zip lining, and then learning about Jesus. And then their counselors and the staff kind of send them heart notes, is what they're called. Their daily mail that they get to put little notes in and just kind of encouraging them throughout the week. So I make cards for that, just so it's kind of a little extra something special. And then the counselors use them as their heart notes. Now, of course, they use other things as their heart notes, but I just like to participate in that way. I used to volunteer for the camp itself as their photographer, but since I have been having kids, it's really hard for me to take a full week off to go do that. So that is not the phase of life I am in. And so instead I use my talents in this way, and then I get to send, the heart notes through the counselors to the kids. So I'm still participating. And yeah, getting these sequins to work on my card. I am super impatient, and I don't let the glue dry before I'm like trying to mess with it or push it down or something. And so you saw it just kind of fly away because I was trying to use tweezers. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So that is sketch number 1. Sketch number 2 uses a couple pieces of the pattern paper, and then a lot of it comes from your own stash. And so I have a couple different colors of cardstock here, and then I brought in a couple other flowers. I did do some splatter painting as well. These flowers are just from another die set, but I thought they actually matched the pattern paper like perfectly. So that's kind of what I was going. I used some ink to make those go that way. And then of course those were the other sides of those beginning papers. And then I brought in some gold splatter for the other piece of pattern paper that isn't from the cutting guides, because I just wanted a little bit more of that gold to be sparkling on it. I'm a huge fan of bling, so you can never have enough. And I really love to use splatter, and I always forget that I can do it. I have so many techniques at my fingertips that I could be doing with these cards, and I forget to do them when I really get in the zone. And then I go, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I should have done that. So the fact that I actually use splatter on, a piece of paper kind of thing is like a big deal. I have a lot of want to use my mixed media items, and I get too wrapped up in all the layers and all that kind of designing that I forget that I can also add those things. So we are using some yellow cardstock as the border, and then that blue kind of periwinkle color is my main cardstock colors. Is that yellow, the periwinkle, and then a dark blue are what I used with the cardstock cutting guide. So you're going to see that repeated a lot through these cards. Now, the majority of these cards will feature a sunflower, but some of them will also feature like bees, because I kind of went for a sunflower bee feel just because that's what the papers also called for, and that's what I kind of went with as I was cutting my pattern paper. So you're going to see that a lot. And forgive me my voice if I'm kind of sounding a little off today. We have been almost all homesick. My husband so far has not gotten it, and hopefully he won't get it. But all three girls and I have been homesick with a cold that we were fighting. So it's been a really long week. But we're getting through it. But I've had a sore throat here and there, and this was my first day of not. So we're trying to use my voice here for all these voiceovers I'm doing today. All right, so I am going to add a little bit more of my scrap cardstock behind these flowers, just so that they're a little bit more even with that sunflower, since it has so many more layers. I want to bump them up a little bit higher. Now, of course, I'm not worried about too much dimension with these. These cards are not going to be going in the mail. They're going to be handed to the kids, because I believe like 90% of these, or even 100%, will go to camp this year. And so I'm not worried about it having too much dimension. But if you are following along and you're remaking this card as well and you want to mail it, I just suggest not putting the extra cardstock in between the layers on the sunflower. It can get pretty flat if you don't do that. And then no extra cardstock behind these lovely little flowers, because I really bumped them up pretty high so that they're even with that sunflower. Now, just like last quarter, I am making 3 videos with Kendra's Card Challenge where I'm going to do sketches 1 through 5, 6 through 10, even though 9 and 10 kind of already got done, but I will review that card in that video, those cards in that video, and then 11 through 15. So these are a little bit longer videos, so thank you for staying and sticking with me and watching the whole thing. If you do, I understand if it gets a little tedious, you can always put me on like 2 times speed or something and just ignore my talking and rambling. That's completely up to you, and just watch the cards being made. That does not make me feel bad at all. I do that with a lot of videos, so shh, don't talk about it. But if you like these kind of videos where they're a little bit longer, they go into a little bit more detail about the cards, and you get to see more cards, more processes, let me know. If you're really more into the just show me one sketch and make really short videos or shorts, let me know that too, because I love making reels as well. I just tend not to do both. I tend to either make long videos for the quarter, or I make a bunch of short videos for the quarter. I tend not to make short and long videos, just because of all the other different design work that I'm a part of, and my own stuff that I'm a part of, and life. So let me know down in the comments what you prefer. I would love to hear from my viewers. And of course, I'm using some more scrap cardstock, this time in the yellow, behind my sentiment, just to pop it up off the page a little bit more, just so it creates a little bit more of a shadow between it and the white cardstock. The splatter helps, but this just kind of gives it a little bit more dimension and interest and pops it up a little bit more. So this sentiment, it says, "You make me smile," and I think that's adorable, and that's a great encouragement for anybody. I mean, if I got this card in the mail that said "You make me smile," I mean, I would smile. So using these kind of sentiments, I absolutely love. So using more of those sequins are actually from Kendra. It came in one of the mini sampler kits, and I am using them a lot throughout these cards, and I still have a lot to go. She sent me like a whole packet full of them in my sampler kit. So if you haven't seen what comes in a sampler kit from Kendra, I will link a couple videos down below or up in the corner here, to let you know what kind of comes in a sampler kit. If you aren't part of Kendra's Patreon, it's definitely something to think about and look into, because she really makes it worth it. So that is sketch number 2. Sketch number 3. So again, this is where I kind of come out with some bee items. I am a huge fan of bumblebees. I leave them alone. I like to look at them. I like to see them. I think they're pretty. The stamping is from a stamp set that I have from Simon Says Stamp here. I don't touch them because I don't want to be stung. And I'm a little afraid of them, but like, as in they're cool. And I would love for them not to like go extinct. So, you know, be nice to your bees and plant some wildflowers and let your dandelions grow. I've said it. So moving on, I'm using that blue periwinkle color and some white cardstock just to make that border here. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. My B there. It says believe in yourself. And you can do anything. I love a good pun. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of line up my squares here. I was a little off with my cutting. I always am. I'm always a little off with my cutting. So I have to really line up in space and everything. It's a little off, but it's okay. Done is better than perfect. You know, I'm not Hallmark, I'm homemade. So it's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with it because, you know, the people that receive your cards, they don't look for perfection. They're not going to go, oh, there's a little bit more white on the one side than there is on the other kind of thing. They don't think that. Even if you send your card to a card maker, like I've received homemade cards from several card makers, and I never go, oh, they messed up there. Like, no, I'm just happy I'm getting happy mail, because otherwise I'm getting bills in the mail or junk in the mail. And so seeing happy mail, I'm just excited to get happy mail. So making sure that it gets done is better than it not ever getting done. So, and then I'm just using these stripes here. You could use some like peel offs from Love from Lizzie, or some kind of design stripe if you wanted to. Again, this came from the cardstock cutting guides from Kendra. So that's why I have the stripes that I do. If you've never played along with Cards by Kendra, or you've been watching this video going, I have no idea what she's talking about. Cards by Kendra is a YouTuber here that puts on Kendra's card challenges each quarter. So for 3 months, if you play along, you can download the PDF that Kendra creates that has the cutting guides and the sketches of 15 unique card sketches using 6 sheets of 6x6 pattern paper. And she gives you all of that information for free. You just have to become a Patreon member of hers, which is a free membership. And then you can play along with us and upload your set of 15 cards and get chances to win a bunch of giveaways. Kendra is very generous, and our sponsors are very generous, and there's a lot to give away. So if you make a set of 15 cards, definitely upload it to the InLinkz party and get your name in the giveaway. You can actually do it 3 times, one for each month of the quarter. And so if you make 3 different sets of cards, you can be entered 3 separate times. And if you make 3 separate sets of cards, I'm impressed. I love seeing all the designs. We also have a Facebook group that I will post down below as well, if you want to get some inspiration. But we have a good time on Kendra's Patreon. If you wanted to do a paid membership and help Kendra out that way, since she does all of this for free, she does have some paid memberships that include things like the mini sampler kits, early destashing items. She does full kits, card kits as well. She'll send you a homemade card from her, and just some other things in the Patreon shop that just gives you a bunch of different discounts and things like that. So definitely check out those tiers below. Anything helps. Kendra is aiming to do this full time soon, and so that really helps her out if you become a paid membership. So that is that sketch 3. All right, moving on to sketch 4. Has a lot of different pattern paper in it and a lot of squares here. So you can really take advantage of double-sided paper with this one. You could have every single one be a different pattern, or you can keep a couple of them the same like it actually shows in the sketch. I'm going to keep a couple of them the same and just kind of mix around. I decided to use all the sides of my papers that had the sunflowers on them. I believe the original papers, one of them didn't have the sunflowers, but I just felt like it was really neat to see all the different sunflower patterns with this particular sketch. So I am just figuring out how that is all going to place well, which patterns are supposed to be overlapping which squares. And then I decided I wanted to turn a couple just so it wasn't the exact same, since that was the only ones that were the same for me particularly. And then you just start gluing them down. I am using liquid glue for this one, just so I do have a little bit of wiggle room in case I do it a little bit wrong. Making sure each piece layers the way it's supposed to. Now, a couple of them do line up real well, and then a couple of them do overlap one or more pieces of paper. So just really look at the sketch, kind of study it before starting. It's not hard once you have it kind of all placed down. So you just start gluing. This is also where I'm going to say, if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. If you are subscribed but you haven't hit that bell, go ahead and do so that you don't miss any videos by me. I don't have a particular day that I always post on, but I do try to post several videos a month. It just depends on timing and schedule for me. If you didn't know this, I am a mom of 3, 5 and under, and they keep me pretty busy during the days. And so half the time, especially now that we're out of school, I really don't even know what day of the week it is. So, but I do try to post several videos a month for y'all to be inspired by. So. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and layer my sunflower. Again, I'm going to put that white circle to the side. That's just going to be used in other cards on future days. I'm going to bring in some leftover cardstock here and bump up my blue circle just so it has a little bit more dimension, and because the papers overlap the way they do, I just want it to be a little bit higher than everything else. And then I'll be gluing the sunflower onto that circle. So I ended up using about 3 strips of paper here. It's still not a lot of dimension, but it just saves you a little bit of money instead of having to buy some foam tape. And then I did put a little bit of glue just around the circle just in case it does touch any of the papers. And then we won't notice any kind of bend anyway because it's going to be hidden by the sunflower, but it just makes it feel better. And then that's going to go directly in the middle, which I absolutely love because this card is just screaming all the sunflowers. And then the quote that I decided to use, "In a world of roses, be a sunflower." I just figured that was like perfect for this particular card just because it is all about those sunflowers. So I am going to bump that up as well just so it has a little bit more presence on the card. We're going to use a couple layers of cardstock on the top here, and then I'll be putting a couple layers on that bottom area as well, just so there's no noticeable bending, and it's a solid sentiment there. So I'm just cutting down some of that yellow scrap cardstock down to size to make sure that nothing is seen behind the sentiment. And of course, this is a part 1 of 3. Part 2 will be coming out soon, and then the part 3 after that. So you do get a full once over of all 15 cards that I made for this quarter. And then I'm just going to put that right in the center underneath the sunflower there. I did notice it got a little crooked, and I was like, it's fine. It won't bug me. It bugs me later. So we're going to go ahead and get some of my sparkles on here. I'm actually going to do 3 in a row at the bottom and then 3 in a row at the top, just to kind of even out the weight, since there is so much pattern paper, and it helps your eye kind of find a place to relax. And then this is where, of course, I'm looking at it and I'm going, my sentiment isn't straight. So I do get it pulled off a little bit, just because I did use, paper as my foam tape. So it was okay that it came off in between the layers. I just added a little bit more glue, and then I'm going to line that up better. So it will hide the leftover paper that disappeared there, but I wanted to make sure that it was lined up, because that was going to bug me in the long run. Sometimes it doesn't bother me if it's not always straight kind of thing, but that one was going to bug me. So that is my sketch 4, and we have one more card to go, guys. Sketch 5. All right, I love this sketch. Now, I will say that this sketch took me a minute to figure out kind of how I wanted everything to look. I wanted to make sure that I had an even white border from my card base all the way around. My card bases aren't always perfect, and so really adjusting all the pieces for that. And then you could cut out a backing paper for your pattern papers and line it all up on that. But I decided just to use some Post-it tape once I have everything lined up, to keep everything together. This way I can make sure that I have those sides cut off straight and even with the rest of the papers. I am going to bring in my trimmer for that, because I attempted to do it, started it with my scissors, and then I went, nope, I'm not going to make a straight enough line for that. So I did bring in my trimmer and cut those sides off quickly here. And then we'll go ahead and flip the paper around and cut the other side off as well. And then we'll start adhering our paper to the card base. And for that, I am going to use liquid glue again, just so I do have a little bit of wiggle room, since I am trying to specifically get an even amount of white border around each piece. I made sure to glue each piece down, because of course, once it's on there, I will take the Post-it tape off, and I want to make sure that there's a good adherence for all 3 pieces of paper there. So if you have played along with Kendra's card challenge, let me know in the comments. Have you won anything? I'd love to know. Before I was on the design team, I think I won once, and it was one of the monthly random individual sketches pictures that she used to do. And I think I won some sequins from This Calls for Confetti, and they were pink. And so it was great. So let me know how long you've been participating and if you've ever won a giveaway. And then I am using some peel-offs from Love from Lizzie here, just to define my pieces of pattern paper here. It adds a little bit of bling as well, and you know me, I always like to add some bling. I am using just the gold solid stripe ones. I suggest doing this before you glue it down if you can. Otherwise, I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and cutting those edges off so that they are smooth as well, which, isn't that big a deal, but if you don't want to deal with having to cut it with an X-Acto knife. So I did decide I'm bringing in another sunflower here. It's going to be to the side, and I'm trying to figure out which sentiment I want to work with this. I'm going to be bringing in a couple other flowers here. I'm not following the sketch exactly. There is supposed to be like one on each piece of pattern paper, but I didn't really want anything getting lost in the lower pattern paper just because it was a little bit busier. So I decided to keep both of my flowers up in the top right hand. And then we're going to go ahead and glue the sunflower down just like we've done in the past cards. We're adding our sentiment as well. It says, "You make me smile." Did you see I had kind of a love for this sentiment? I used it several times. And then I'm just going to bend my flower petals of these other flowers just so they have a little bit more dimension and interest. You see, these long videos, I start repeating myself a lot. It's like, how many times do I say this particular word? But, you know, we're here for it. We're just going to go ahead and get those down. I wanted them to kind of overlap each other, just kind of like a bouquet would, and I really like how that came out. Now, of course, we are going to add some more bling here using our sequins that we've been using throughout these cards. We're just going to put one next to the sentiment and then a couple down in the lower left-hand corner, and that kind of evens out where the flowers are as well, weight-wise for this card. So definitely check out the description box below for all the information regarding Kendra's card challenge number 22 here. And then, of course, there is a playlist down below as well with a lot of inspiration for you all. So I hope you have a great day. This is Not Too Shabby's prize for this quarter, so definitely check them out. And I will see you in another video soon. Bye!